Assalamualaikum, everyone. Pleased to be here, and thank you for joining us on this park launch seminar. We're joined by an academic, someone who's very passionate about social policy and driving change for the youth of Pakistan, Ms. Shaza Fatima Khawaja.
Thank you, Salaal. Thank you, everyone, for joining and for being here today. We're here to discuss very briefly an idea and an initiative that has been taken by the government of Pakistan through Prime Minister's special initiative, which is essentially how to support the startup culture in Pakistan, the startup ecosystem in Pakistan, particularly support the challenge that is faced by most of our startups is in terms of securing investment. So where could the government step in various areas where we could, support and encourage and give confidence to international as well as local investors to invest in this ecosystem, which we all know is quite challenging and is also a very risky investment, so to say. I'll give you a very brief introduction of the program overall. I am right now the special assistant. Yeah.
Shaza, if it's fine, before we dive into the program itself, shall we just set the tone for the panel a little bit, just to give a little bit of context? And so we know Pakistan as a challenger market. It has a median age of 23, 100 million income households, 100 million mid-income households, 119 million internet users, and about 50 million people purchasing goods online, 7 billion in consumer spend, and 25% of the population now having a mobile bank account or a wallet. We're classified as a nascent but emerging venture market. With between 2016 and 2022, we witnessed about $963 million in disclosed funding, out of which the last year we had about $355 million, mainly at the very early stages, and we've been seeing exits such as the likes of Easy Pesa, to the Raz, and obviously. Easy Pesa and Daraz to Alibaba, and recently IPOs as well. So we've had the listings of Airlink, of Octopus Digital last year. So the sector is growing. Specifically, IT and IT exports is about it represents about 1% of GDP, and that's about $2 to $3 billion. And it's last year has been a globally a very challenging year economically because of high inflation and high interest rates. And Pakistan saw a slump in that funding, bringing it down to only about $23 million in Q1 this year. But we've seen a lot of resilience, and with that, we've had some great businesses that have been very successful. So obviously, you've been here for in the government for 12 months now, completing your first year. How has it been to come in as the special assistant to the Prime Minister on youth affairs? How you found that work?
It's been like you've already mentioned, as the global economy also goes, but Pakistan has always had its unique challenges as well. It's whether it's political or economic challenges, and coming amidst such an economically challenging times, I have to say that it hasn't been an easy job in the last 1 year, 1.5 years that we've been around. However, it has also been very rewarding. It has also given me a lot of hope to see so many young people. And if I can start off with my presentation, that kind of gives an overview of what we've been doing and what we've learned over the last 1 year. So if it's okay, I think I'm going to share my screen and we can start off a short presentation. So can you see now? Yeah.
Yes, we can. Great.
So basically, you've already mentioned, with the 5th largest population, 150 million young people under the age of 30, median age 22, 23 years, more than 110 million internet users. And Pakistan is largely, compared to its similar countries around, a largely untapped PC market. I'm going to give you a very brief history of the youth program that I'm heading as the special assistant to Prime Minister. This started in back in 2013. So we're also celebrating its 10 years, and 2023 was declared as Year of Youth by the Prime Minister of Pakistan. We operate under 4 pillars, 4 E's, which is education, entrepreneurship, engagement, and environment. And within these 4 E's, our major initiatives are to introduce, we will next week be launching a Youth Digital Hub, which is going to be a national digital youth hub for all the initiatives that the government of Pakistan has for young people. We want to have a consolidated employment portal, a scholarship portal, sports initiatives, and also the startup ecosystem and all the support system that we can provide for young people. We want to make it a one-stop shop for young people. So it's going to be a mobile application as well as a website. Then we have certain initiatives in sports where we've done talent hunt programs across Pakistan. Skills development has been a very, very flagship program, I would say. We've been training 100,000 young people every year, and consistently the share of IT trainings, skills training has gone up. This year, about 70% of the 100,000 trained people is of IT individuals. It obviously does not, they're all not all high-tech IT skills. Most of them are low-tech IT skills, but still, looking into the economic landscape of e-commerce and self-employment, all of that industry, all of these skills have really helped our young people self-employ and start their own businesses. Then Prime Minister's laptop scheme has been going on in Pakistan with the Punjab government as well as the federal government. It didn't happen for the last 4 years, but even then we've distributed about 1 million laptops to young high-achieving students in the last few years. And this year we'll be distributing another 100,000 laptops, and we believe that today when we say that we're really taking off in the IT sector and the exports are growing, this is one of the largest contributors where we enable our young people with the basic device, because a lot of these young students cannot genuinely afford to buy a laptop. So this has been a great support system, especially when COVID came, remote learning, remote working. So we've had great success stories coming out of laptop program. The Green Youth Movement has to do with the climate change issue, which is again gaining a lot of momentum and posing a lot of challenges. Then the youth business loans is again something which is very relevant to this, because these are very easy entrepreneurship loans that the government of Pakistan gives. The spread is over 8 years, and the markup is for up to 1.5 million rupees is just 5%, up to 7.5 million rupees is just 7%, while the policy rates is today somewhere around 22%. So this is a very, very convenient loan. We've disbursed 30 billion rupees in the last 6 months to more than 50,000 beneficiaries. And we'd like to believe that about 50,000 either new businesses have started, and a lot of them have been IT related businesses as well. Then we have the National Innovation Award. National Innovation Award was conducted this year for the first time. And the idea again was to encourage young people with good ideas to come forward and to recognize them, to acknowledge them. And the award was up to rupees 2 million, about 1 million in financial grant and 1 million of technical support for 6-month training and incubation. And the latter, I feel, is more important, because a lot of times, and we'll talk about that as well in this slide, that the challenges that we've seen our IT sector facing, and we've been in conversation with the sector, Prime Minister made a special task force on IT. I was a part of it. So we've been in discussions with the private sector, with the public sector, with academia. What we've realized is that this sector is the lowest hanging fruit given the economic challenges of Pakistan, and therefore it is among the top 3 contenders that government of Pakistan has decided that it will support in the next financial year as its economic revival plan. The learnings that came out of these discussions were that the industry faces a shortage of adequately trained IT human resource. The startups and the entrepreneurs themselves face a challenge of securing sizable investments and therefore have issues in their scalability. And the third is that even where young people are securing investments or taking business loans or starting their businesses, the rate of success, the rate of scalability has been hampered because they do not have the requisite soft skills. They don't have entrepreneurship trainings, they don't have marketing trainings, they don't have financial, legal trainings that are required to grow as a company. And therefore, we also feel that we've not seen any one of the startups going big or becoming a unicorn from Pakistan. So all of these challenges combined, this year, the Prime Minister took some special initiatives for financial year 23-24. We'll be repeating the National Innovation Award. I'll tell you briefly how it went. We gave an open call for ideas. It was an ideational stage competition. We got around 20,000 applications. A group of private sector, jury of private sector members independently selected by the Higher Education Commission, judged them, shortlisted 500 of them. We gave them a boot camp for 5 days, again, on the soft skills, entrepreneurship, business development. After those boot camps across Pakistan, they got 250 of them were further shortlisted and they pitched their ideas in Islamabad. 50 of them were awarded with financial grant and the technical grant that I was talking about. Another 50 of them are on their way this month. So it's about a cohort of 100 startups that have good ideas around urban planning, around sustainable development, agriculture, you name it. And these young, brilliant minds have great ideas to solve these problems. Then we'll also, again, this year be giving 100,000 laptops, which we feel are the best enablers for the sector overall. Rupees 5 billion has been kept as special initiatives to support the tech sector. Some of it will go towards trainings, and some of it is what we're going to talk about in just another 2 minutes. 5 billion rupees specially for skills training in addition to the previous one. 70% of these trainings, about 15,000 beneficiaries and trainees will be for the IT sector. Markup subsidy of rupees 10 billion. This will enable us to disburse around 50 billion rupees worth of easy loans for small and medium enterprises. Again, we will be prioritizing the sectors that have been selected by the government of Pakistan, the top of which is the IT sector. Then we have 5 billion education support and scholarship grants. Even within this, what we're looking towards is about 500, supporting 500 students who can get undergrad or graduate degrees from the best institutes across the globe in IT education. And the last is the 5 billion rupees for Women Empowerment Fund. Why I've mentioned this here is because even within this, we intend to support IT trainings for women, especially e-commerce, low-tech training, self-employment, freelancing. We also intend to make a special national incubation center for women with the help of Ignite. We're looking to have special grants for women-led startups as well. So these are just a few initiatives that the government is taking in these challenging times. And let me also say that these are the special initiatives of the Prime Minister. In addition to this, the regular budgeting for the Ministry of Information Technology is also there. Expected outcomes, we've already, I've already outlined them. So there's also a lack of master trainers, if I must say, because when I spoke to the industry to train our young people, one of the biggest challenges is that we don't have master trainers for our IT professionals. And
Understood.
lastly, and most important, we come to the main topic of discussion today. So about $6 million approximately have been earmarked as a co-investment strategy. We want to encourage local and foreign VC funding to come into Pakistan. We're looking to support entrepreneurship, to support our startups, to support our young people obtain their goals and achieve their dreams, realize their dreams. And some of the basic challenges that they're facing comes from the problem of securing significant funding when it comes to investment in Pakistan. The idea is to show them that the government of Pakistan itself is interested, is focused, and has prioritized this sector. We understand that $6 million is not a very big number when we look at venture capital funding, but this is just a pilot project, and the pool we plan to enhance from the government funding as well as collaboration with key stakeholders so that we can make a better pool in the coming time. So the next steps and what we'd like to discuss today, and I'd also welcome all suggestions that can come our way. Let's be honest, I'm no expert on the topic. I've had a lot of support from our public sector organizations. We have Ignite, we have Public-Private Partnership Authority, some friends who are part of this industry have pitched in, and this is the shape that it has taken till now, that we want to devise a framework where we want to match VC investments. Because this is not a big fund, we're looking to support pre-seed, the startups which are on pre-seed and seed level, seed stages, so that more and more young people can be supported. We will definitely be working with multiple venture capitalists throughout this program, and we want to ensure transparency. And for that, the fund itself, this $6 million, will be managed not directly by just the government, but it'll be a collaboration with the key stakeholders, with experts, international and local experts from this field. Venture capitalism is a very, very, very technical, scientific field. We understand that not everyone can deal with the situation. I also want to clarify that we're not directly going into VC funding. We're supporting VC funds. So we will not be the decision makers when it comes to which startups are selected or where the investment is going. We will be supporting other funds who will be doing so. G.
On this point, there's a couple of questions, I think, specifically to this slide and generally about the venture capital fund. So is this a fund of funds, or is this an endowment which invests? And are you looking for partners to come in? How will that process work? And number two, how will people then apply to get funded through this $6 million or 2 billion PKR allocation?
Right. So this is intended to be a fund for funds. Like I said, we're not going to go directly into investment ourselves. The overall details of the process will be finalized in the coming couple of days. And this is where I would like to connect with anyone who has good suggestions over here as well. But as we stand, we are going to be floating an expression of interest where whoever is interested in investing in startups in Pakistan, the government of Pakistan will be incentivizing it by either matching the fund or I'm not going to say one-to-one matching. We would obviously prefer that whoever comes with the best offer of investment, government of Pakistan is going to top up with a certain amount as a grant to that particular VC fund.
So this is coming from a foreign direct investment perspective, and you mentioned
also local, but also local investors who are interested. We will probably keep a share for both.
Okay. And you use the term grants. Grants and venture capital are very different. Grants do not incentivize growth or performance, right? And do you see this being like something different or in line with, or is there specific, like the women empowerment is a grant, and then the venture capital fund is for venture capital?
When I say grant, it's not a grant to the startups. I just want to clarify the fact that we understand that the government or us at this stage do not hold that expertise in terms of venture capitalist funding, in terms of deciding which startup to invest in, which startup not to invest in. So the decision makers will be the VC funds that come in. We will just be giving this additional as a matching grant to the requesting, it's a matching grant to the participating VCs. It's not just doling out of money, it's a matching grant, and matching grant also not just to the pledges, but it will be matching to the actually deployed amount that will come into Pakistan.
Understood. So you're talking about a model similar to what they have in Turkey or in Saudi or in Indonesia and comparative markets. And how you said there's going to be an expression of interest over the coming weeks?
Yeah, so basically we want to, first of all, in order to ensure transparency, in order to ensure that we have the requisite expertise, we want to have a board, a committee. We will ideally make a Section 42 company out of it with an independent board. That board will further specify these details and the TORs of what the expression of interest will look like and the nitty-gritties of it. But the larger idea is that the government will provide a matching grant to all the VCs that are interested in investing in Pakistan.
Understood. And this will be separate to the existing Ignite framework, which runs the national incubation centers.
Yes, Ignite will be, members of Ignite, CEO Ignite will be a part of it, but the national incubation centers is a different project altogether. Great.
And so with ease of use and access, obviously with this sector, everyone is digitally enabled, mobile friendly, and so on. And also you mentioned something that was very important, which was transparency, and technology enables that. So the process, how will that in itself be technology enabled, or are you looking for maybe partners that bring that to the table?
Till date, most of the projects that I've already mentioned, including the laptop distribution, the business loans program, we have used the portal of the Prime Minister's Youth Program. The National IT Board of Pakistan helps us develop these particular portals where applications have been coming in and have been processed very transparently. We've made most of the results public as well. So this program as well will be completely automated to a certain extent, especially in terms of applications, expression of interest, and processing. So we want to ensure absolute transparency. This is a pilot project. We definitely want it to be a success so that we can enhance this in the coming years.
Understood. And the sector that perhaps is missing is on, if you leave out the companies and startups, then you have freelancers, the fourth largest freelancer market. And your laptops are obviously something that really promotes that activity. But do you have any specific policies geared towards freelancers in general?
Yeah, so
incentives towards that?
I'll go back to my 5 billion funding for supporting the IT sector, and that actually about 2 billion of it will be utilized by Pakistan Software Export Board, which will be training and supporting freelancers as well. There's a detailed program within this 5 billion with specific support to freelancers. And even for our freelancers, One of the largest challenges that we've seen, biggest challenges is, again, the soft skills. So communication skills, entrepreneurship skills, how to sell their product, how to sell their services better at better rates, negotiation skills, marketing skills, financial skills. These are the kind of skills that we feel are really important for freelancers at this point in time, in order for their productivity to enhance, for their ratings to become better across the globe. Right now, we have a sizable free market economy, and they're contributing somewhere around $1.5 to $2 billion to Pakistan's exports.
Yeah, and so you obviously speak about skills training, but how will that mismatch between the industry and the academia be bridged? And what initiatives, or will some of these initiatives, are these geared towards building that, towards bridging that?
One very good initiative that the Ministry of IT has done with the Higher Education Commission is the Academia Industry Bridge. And the idea is that, so I'll be very honest, of the 25 to 28,000 IT professionals that graduate in Pakistan every year, not many are employable. There are many reasons for that. And for this reason, we've started the Industry Academia Bridge program. All this IT students who are in the 6th or 7th semester or 8th semester will go through an IT-based boot camp, which will be given by the private sector industry itself. So that's just one of the initiatives that we're talking about. But there's a huge gap between academia and industry, supply and demand. And that is really, and I was also reading one of the questions here, that while we're continuously in the training process and in the process of educating our young people, unfortunately, the productivity seems to be very low. And most of these funds, especially the skills training and initiative to support the IT sector, will be this time geared towards giving them trainings which have international acceptability, which have certifications, which are essentially employable skills and enable our young people to be directly employed as soon as they take up these courses or complete their degrees.
I see. So you're talking about the likes of graphic designing or basic coding skills. Being able to help.
We're talking about high-tech skills, including artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud computing, as well as low-tech skills, where we're talking about graphic designing, website making, most of the things that freelancers essentially and self-employed young individuals. And I would like to mention here that most of them are women, especially in the field of e-commerce. So all of these trainings will be a part of the program.
Okay, and a lot of this also involves with, as related to the law itself, right? If data protection regulation is not yet present in Pakistan. So if we start training these engineers and IT people, how is that? How is our parliament? Obviously, you're a parliamentarian as well. How are they acting towards bringing in the right legal frameworks for enabling the IT industry?
I'd like to go back to 2016-17, where we gave this incentive, tax incentive for 5 years to anyone who would come into Pakistan and put up some sort of an assembly plant or a production plant for any IT related product like laptops, mobile phones, and electronics. That actually gave a great push to investment coming in towards that side. And we did see a lot of, for instance, mobile phones being produced in Pakistan in the last few years. Unfortunately, the policy was reversed. This year around, we've seen very, I would say challenging times in terms of economy, especially with an IMF program in the process and a new one coming in while the budget was happening. But rest assured, we've been in conversation with the industry, and the task force that Prime Minister made, a few recommendations from the industry came in. And those included things like 35% retention of the dollars that come in, repatriation of that amount, using that amount for investment and reinvestment. All of those inputs were taken in, and Prime Minister has taken a very, serious stance on this, that while all of these, I would say, provisions are there already in the law, we faced certain implementation challenges. And we do believe that even the existing provisions, if implemented in letter and spirit, they can already provide a lot of relaxation to the industry. In addition to that, we have an STZA law, the Special Technology Zones Authority Law Act, yes. That also had some challenges. We're looking to bring in amendments in the STZA Act, and I think that kind of resolves all the legal and financial challenges that the industry faces. And even if we don't go into physical technology zones, we are looking into going for virtual technology zones, so that all of these, the industry and for the first time, the IT has been given the status of an SME. So all the legal relaxations, procedures, tax relaxations allowed for SMEs now all apply to IT sector as well. Before this, IT was not looked at as an industry, and therefore it was again facing a lot of challenges where the industry would get subsidies in various areas. IT would not get those. So now, after being declared as an SME, IT will get all the tax incentives that any other SME gets. So we are getting there. We're improving the laws that exist, and we will bring in any additional required law that can support the industry for sure.
Understood. Yeah, and that's fundamental, because that Nadra being the biggest database in the country, if someone steals any data from Nadra, there's no penal mechanism. There's no downside. You can't go to a court and say that there was some theft, because there is no data protection regulation, and that's a globally accepted principle. But coming back to your point on the IMF, and that's been something that has been Pakistan's been reliant on for decades now, and the current government, the PDM government, and your specific political party as well, the PMLN, have been in power for a multitude of those years. But now, how is it, as we try and grow our economy with the macro that we're aware, what do you think can bring in a sustainable economic model to Pakistan?
In terms of this sector particularly, or economy on the whole?
What role can maybe the youth of Pakistan and the IT and sector play, in your opinion, for sustainable growth?
Not just because I'm the SAPM on youth, but I genuinely believe that our 70% human resource is essentially the biggest asset that Pakistan has at the moment. A lot of countries, including European countries, Japan, with depleting populations, are looking towards countries like us to provide good human resource. So that is, I think that with such a large youth bulge, 150 million number is also from back in 2017. I'm quite sure it is much bigger now. So this number essentially can actually provide for and become the biggest asset that Pakistan has. And if not trained and channelized well, it can also become one of the largest challenges. And that is why we are consistently providing and trying to give and bring in initiatives that can successfully make an environment which is conducive to their development, enable them through devices, through financial supports, through skills and trainings, through scholarships. And if we are able to successfully obtain even 50% of what we've planned, even the initiatives that are in front of you, we genuinely think in numbers that we can significantly increase and contribute, these young people can contribute to Pakistan's economy. I will give you a very small example. So I was sitting with a friend who also comes, actually heads the largest software company in Pakistan. And we were looking at numbers that if, let's suppose right now, according to World Bank, we have about 3.5 million freelancers. And if we train just 20,000 of them and take their revenues up to $5,000, that contributes about $7 million to Pakistan's economy every year. And this is just 20,000 odd freelancers that we're talking about. So that's the level of potential that this industry holds, that the youth of Pakistan holds. And we are 100% sure that if we support them, if we enable them, if we actually build their capacities, there is no reason that we cannot get out of this economic turmoil that we are facing. And honestly speaking, $2 billion, $3 billion that we talk about when we, talk to IMF or other foreign partners or friendly countries, this is not not that big a number if we are able to, again, at the cost of repetition, train our young people, make them productive citizens, increase their productivity, enhance their productivity. There is no reason why we cannot get these numbers in the next couple of years, not in the long term.
Yeah, that makes sense from a VC perspective. Obviously, the talent arbitrage aspect is something that we've seen other countries do very well. You mentioned a few, and specifically in Pakistan, with only about a $2 to $3 billion market size for IT and IT exports, and with a $28 billion at its peak, but varying between $18 and $22 billion current account deficit. What you're explaining is that you believe that the youth can provide the most exponential growth to be able to meet this target, this deficit, and obviously through the exports. Now, you spoke about the tax rebate, and that is a form of a government incentive. But do you think that this sector needs more or less? And we always, try and deliberate between which sector requires the most support and what does it achieve in its result. What is, when you sit in and discuss with cabinet members and generally in the parliament, how do they feel about this? And is it somewhat important? And is it depoliticized? Because we've seen a lot of sectors that have become politicized and then, not really achieved the promise.
I think IT is largely depoliticized. Our IT minister right now, Aminul Haq Saab, has been the IT minister in the previous government as well. So that's the largest indicator of consistency when it comes to the Ministry of IT, at least. Even the program and the matching grant that we're talking about, we will be going through an executing agency, which will most probably be the Public-Private Partnership Authority. And it's non-lapsable funds. It is an autonomous body. Regardless of what government comes in or goes, the fund will stay intact. And whatever the technicalities and the specifics of the applications or expression of interest or the modalities will be finalized, will be consistent regardless of the changes in the political governments. And that is the reason why we're making it into a company with a set of private board, which will consist mostly of private sector individuals, and also become an autonomous body where the political shifts or political turmoil will not have much impact on the overall working of this fund and most IT related activities. So we want to ensure consistency in policy. We want to ensure that this program, and overall we're also looking into coming up with a charter of economy for at least 10 years where economy overall should be depoliticized, not just IT sector in particular. I will also give you other examples. If we set good programs, so for example in 2013 we set up the Prime Minister's Youth Business Loans Program. And even when the government changed, even though the name changed, the nomenclature changed, which is fine, The program stayed intact and it's been running for 10 years straight. Similarly, our skills development program that was started back in 2013 was, again, the nomenclature changed, but the program stayed intact. So if we start good programs which are effective, which help our youth, it is only in the interest of political governments as well to continue those programs and not discontinue them. So therefore, I would also like to invite any good ideas that can come in to make this into a solid program, a solid fund, which is so secure, so effective that the successive political governments would have an incentive to continue it. And we will ensure that it is done so. So, and that is why we're stepping in to give that kind of confidence to our investors as well, especially international investors, to come into Pakistan, to invest into Pakistan. We have some of the best young people, best young minds with brilliant ideas. We just need to support them financially, as well as just a small push in their soft skills, in technical handholding, and they're all good to go. There's some questions that have come. If you'd like to take them, I can read them in the chat.
I've been highlighting a few of these points. One perhaps question around you keep mentioning soft skills, and the PML government is known for their soft reform. What about the Higher Education Commission, Shaza? This is a problem that people are saying that it's very difficult to find the right software engineers, whether you're an Infiniti, an AI company, a BPO, whatever, NetSol, you're a startup company like a Baikia or an Abi. So just finding the right talent, and not just from the skills development viewpoint, but the curriculum viewpoint. And this was also, I remember, highlighted in the Prime Minister's Digital and IT Committee. So what's the decision that's been taken there?
The decision was that the industry is now sitting with Higher Education Commission and recalibrating the curriculum overall. The challenge of a 4-year degree is that the IT industry is moving so fast that a student who started their program back in 2018 and graduated in 22, the whole landscape has changed by the time they graduate. So it has to be very, very agile, and it has to be very, very kept up to date. And that's one thing that I mentioned at the beginning, that the academia industry bridge is intended to do that, to bring in practical skills, to bring in those boot camps where these young individuals who are educating themselves, whether they're becoming software engineers or overall computer science degrees, they should have proper employable skills by the time they graduate. As far as the curriculum goes, I know that the IT ministry, the industry itself, as well as HEC, is sitting together to revise the curriculum as well.
Understood.
I'll mention one major challenge here. One of the major challenges is finding good trainers and good teachers. So it's not just the curriculum, but for trainers and teachers to be actually trained and well equipped and have those requisite skills according to that curriculum is one of the largest challenges that we're facing. And that is why when we decided on launching the skills program, the first thing that we're going to do is prepare at least 300 to 500 master trainers who will then in turn prepare trainers. Because even when we went to the industry's capacity to train people is also not very high. So we have to first build that capacity to train the young people that will then, so that basic human resource capital pool has to be established that can further impart these employable skills.
Yeah, that's spot on. In the VC industry, these are specific accelerator programs. So there's many that run across the world, which create this linkage and create a tailored curriculum. So there's a few questions and a great amount of people with now ideas, and I can see electric bike being shared. Shaza, that seems very interesting. I guess we've covered the trainings that are available, the policy. You've spoken about the longevity with the government ending its tenure. One major question, I guess, for the investors. So VC funding has dried up in well, not dried up, but has decreased in Pakistan about $20-25 million in Q1 and recovering now. And we see Q3 and Q4 performing a lot better. But some people link this to stability and some to the global macroeconomic environment. How do you see the political aspect of things? So if we speak about the government and the elections coming up, do you see elections happening on time? Do you see a transition? And how do you see that process playing out?
Look, as far as the political situation of the country goes, I would say that political stability has not only been Pakistan's challenge. We've seen governments changing prematurely across the developed world as well. There has been a global situation when we talk about economy. The Russian-Ukraine war, the petroleum prices, the overall inflation globally has contributed a lot and has trickled down to Pakistan as well. If I look at the statistics, global statistics as well, and I actually prepared 2 slides, which I'd like to now bring up. I thought this would come up. So where what Pakistan's outlook looks like when it comes to venture capitalist fund, right? But then this is what the global outlook also looks like. There has been a global decrease when you look at venture. I'm not going to absolve Pakistan by saying that it has entirely been a global phenomena. Pakistan definitely has its unique problems. We've had, an IMF program, which was, I'm not going to go into a political debate, which was troubled last year. But now that we have a stable, new, sustainable program with us, we're looking towards a much more stable economy. We're definitely looking towards elections on time. I don't see a debate happening there. And to answer quite a few questions that have come in this regard, I've already said so, but I'd like to reiterate that regardless of what government comes and when this government goes, we will have a setup through an independent autonomous body that will ensure maintenance not only this fund, but overall all the incentives and initiatives that are being given to industry, especially the IT industry. So overall in our economic revival plan as well, we've identified 3 sectors and IT is one of them, actually the topmost. Then we have agriculture and third is mining. So this is these are the top 3 sectors that Pakistan is looking at when it talks about its economic revival plan. So we will make a foolproof plan out of it so that no political upheaval or turmoil will have an impact. And especially talking about this particular fund, it'll definitely be a stable situation, inshallah.
Understood. And thank you for that. So we have about 10 minutes left and we've covered a lot today. Decision-making in government, it's something that is a big, it's a thing that can really make a government flow better and the service delivery to the people improve. And then within a format where we've had the PTI government and then a lot of political parties together in the Pakistani democratic movement, that has maybe led to certain delays. So how do you see that being facilitated, or how do you see that improving in the coming year?
Sorry, can you just repeat the last?
So the ability to make decisions faster and better in a democratic setup sometimes hinders progress.
Yeah. Okay, so you asked me how I've done in the last 1 year since I've joined the executive part of the state. I think this has been the hardest of them all, to get things moving, to get the decisions made, to get people start to act upon and implement those decisions. This has definitely been one of the biggest challenges that I've come across. But we've definitely found shortcuts around it. And PM Special Initiative is one of them. So, like I said before, the regular funding for the ministry, the regular funding for education ministry, IT ministry, human rights, everything is being done. These are special initiatives, and the idea is because we're looking towards IT as a part of our economic revival program, the idea is to fast track decision making, especially for this sector. And that is why task force was made directly under the Prime Minister himself. He has chaired that multiple times. And these special initiatives are, again, special initiatives of the Prime Minister. All the regular bureaucratic hurdles around the program have already been expedited because of Prime Minister's personal interest. And once the programs are solidified, once they're approved with the new financial year, we start tomorrow, these will be long-standing programs, and all the hurdles that you're talking about and the decision-making issues that you're talking about, at least for these programs, they will hopefully be bypassed. And STZA, I'll come back to that, is one of the examples again. The idea was to make an authority, an independent authority, so that all of these hurdles that slow down or impede the process can actually be bypassed, and we can have an independent authority that can take care of these problems. So we are definitely looking to improve overall systems as well. But as far as this goes, this specific project goes, these are Prime Minister's special initiatives, and he will, inshallah, make sure that before we go, all of these are well in place to be sustained in the years to come. Salaal, I want to answer one of the questions that I'm reading regarding the women's empowerment fund. So within the even within the IT fund, Ignite will be setting up a special incubator, an all-female incubator, and also about a few hundred millions or million grants to women-led startups. The application process will be advertised, and we want to encourage, and this is an exclusive program for women, and obviously all the women can apply for the regular program and regular incubations and funding and all of the initiatives as well. But this is, you can say, a positive discrimination to support women-led startups, to support and encourage more and more women to come into this domain. This actually allows, IT has actually allowed and given opportunity to our young female population because of various social and cultural, even in areas in Pakistan where we have cultural and social boundaries, where women are not going out to work from home, self-employment, remote jobs, e-commerce, all of this has really allowed women to be productive in terms of earning for themselves, becoming breadwinners for their families, becoming independent, supporting, not just their households. I have an example where one young girl who got our laptop, went to LUMS, is right now a law student there, comes from Laya, one of the underdeveloped areas in Punjab, has opened an IT training school there, and now has opened a proper school there, and is now going further down to Sindh and Balochistan. And so they're not just contributing to themselves or their families, a lot of them are also changing the whole landscape of their communities around them as well. So I'd like to encourage more and more women to come forward to apply for our business loans. We highly encourage women to apply for our business loans. These are very easy loans, and banks are specifically directed to encourage women applications. We want to encourage them to come forward to apply for startup grants, to come forward in Innovation Award. We had a lot of women coming in with brilliant ideas. 52% of Pakistan's population is female. And without the support of this population, it is impossible to grow or to get on the development trajectory for the country overall. So we'd like to encourage more and more women to be a part of this program, to be a part of our journey, and to participate in all the opportunities that are available to them.
Shaza, you're absolutely right. There's a small comment from the audience as well regarding some of the application links on the website. Perhaps the user experience of the website for the Prime Minister's Youth Program can be revisited by your team. Great examples, homogenized examples. I mean, we have Karan Das as a development entity, and I'm sure you know everyone in the sector that can help build a more easy to use framework, portal, etc. An obvious question. I mean, what happens if one defaults on a Prime Minister's business youth loan? Is there a downside penalty risk, downside penalty mechanism?
So the business loan essentially operates as a commercial loan. Once you apply on our portal, the application goes directly to the bank that you're applying for. You choose the bank yourself as well. All the participating banks are an option. The bank then processes the application. Where do we come in? We come in that 1.5 million, the loan is non-collateralized. So you don't have to give any asset. You don't have to show any guarantee or a guarantor, and you can apply for the loan. You cannot do this otherwise without this program. We do the risk sharing with the bank. So banks are more inclined to give out these loans. We do the markup subsidy sharing with the beneficiary. So this is where all we come in. In case right now we have very low NPLs because it's spread over 8 years. So the overall monthly return is relatively very low. So our NPL is extremely low, especially for the first year, which is up to 2.5 million. It's also interest free, along with being a non-collateralized loan. The return is 99.9%. So up till now, we haven't really seen much, non-performing loans, but government is doing the risk coverage with the banks on behalf of the beneficiary, and otherwise they operate as commercial loans too.
Understood. So it's basically like any commercial loan given by banks, and there's a lot of banks that have been performing well. So I think that brings us up on the hour, Shaza. I guess.
Perfect.
So thank you for your time, and to the audience. Do you have any closing remarks or thoughts, ideas?
I want to quickly give an email address for all the suggestions to come in, and whether it's regarding the fund or the program overall. And I'm just sharing it
in the chat.
So you can share all your comments and suggestions here. Our Twitter messages are also open. It is this, and our Facebook, Twitter is also open for any suggestions that may come in. One question is, when will the next steps be announced? This week, we'll be finalizing all the documentation and project approvals, and hopefully setting up a board. So as soon as we're done with that, we're going to be giving out an expression of interest where everyone can apply and come forward. Meanwhile, all the investors who are here today, I would like to call on them, and I would like to request them to please step forward. All your suggestions are very valuable to us. We understand that this domain is highly technical. We understand that a lot of expertise is required to manage a fund and to manage programs like these. And any and all suggestions are most welcome. I would also like to thank all of those people who have contributed in shaping it up to the point where it is. I've had help from a few friends from Silicon Valley. Junaid has helped us. Salaal has helped us. Ali Fahad from Park Launch has contributed. Ignite, PSEB, Ali Raza CEO, Asim, Ignite CEO, Malik Ahmed, CEO of Pakistan Public-Private Partnership Authority, Ministry of IT. All of these people, a lot of working, a lot of thought has gone into designing this program and bringing it to where it is right now. And we're hoping that we will, be able to set up a board of individuals like yourselves, experts from the fields, who can, in the long run, be a part of the process, refine the program as much as we can, be part of the selection process, be a part of the operational process, so that things can move not just smoothly, but also transparently through the life cycle of this project. And most probably and hopefully, when we're able to achieve our goals, we will be encouraged to contribute and enhance the pool and get more private sector contributors on board, especially our foreign investors, as we look to improve Pakistan's overall economic outlook. So this is all that I have to say. I would like to thank everyone who's joined here and has been a part of this conversation.
Great. Thank you, Shaza. And thanks to Pankaj for hosting this.